Hello, folks. Good afternoon, folks. Welcome back to the Jordan 411 Sports Show. And I'm very excited to introduce my next guest from Regina, Saskatchewan. Boo! But he's one of the best radio personnels of all time. Please give a warm welcome to Bob Irving!
How you doing, Jordan?
Good.
Good.
So my first question is, how was the drive over here?
It was pretty good. I came over in less than rush hour traffic. It took about 40 minutes from Charleswood, where I live, but it was nice. I haven't been on Henderson Highway for quite a while, so I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was good.
We're gonna get into the football side now.
Sure.
You've been a broadcaster for so many years, and you listen to Stiegel, Doug Brown, Rod Hill, all those guys. How does it feel not doing so hot in the corner century?
You mean the Bombers not doing so
Yeah.
well? Yeah, well, long time since they won the Grey Cup. What I do, though, is still enjoyable. I broadcast the Bomber games. I do the play-by-play, and I have since 1974. So win or lose, I still enjoy what I do. Having said that, it would be nice if they'd win another Grey Cup before I die, Jordan, because I don't know how much longer I have. And a lot of people have said to me, Bob, you got to keep doing this till the Bombers win another Grey Cup, and my response is, I hope I live long enough. But it has been a dry spell. It's been 25 years. They've been in 5 in the last 25 years, but they've lost them all. So we'll see. Maybe the next year or two they'll turn it around.
What's your most memorable moment that you broadcast, like through all of it?
Yeah, I get asked that quite often, and it's very hard for me to pin down one particular moment. I will say this, the 2006 Grey Cup game was played in Winnipeg, and I did the broadcast of the game on national radio, and Mark McLaughlin kicked the winning field goal, and NFL Films recorded that, and they ran my description of that winning field goal on NFL Films, which is a pretty big deal. And I heard from a lot of people about the fact that they'd heard me describing that winning kick.
How was that Stiegel last second?
The last second touchdown in Edmonton in 2006. I remember it well. It was one of the most unbelievable plays I've ever seen. Milt Stiegel calls it the most memorable play in his career. The Bombers were out of it. There's time for one play left. They're on the on their own 10-yard line. And Kevin Glenn threw up what they call a prayer, a Hail Mary pass, and Milt Stiegel caught it and went for the touchdown. And I just about fell out of the booth on that one. That was pretty cool.
How was the Grey Cup week for you?
It was good. I think Winnipeg did a great job, as always. The events were well attended. The award ceremony on Thursday night was fantastic. They had a red carpet for the players as they came into Club Regent for the awards, and they've never done that before, so it had kind of a Hollywood flair to it. The weather turned out good. The game was pretty good, I thought. Not great, but pretty good. So it was a good week. We always do a great job of hosting big events in Winnipeg, and we did it again.
On Thursday, I was there too.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you saw me,
I did
but
not.
I saw you.
Okay.
And actually, Chad Owens,
Yeah.
I fully respect him. I know he's an Argo, but he was the only guy who brought me out on the red carpet.
Oh, really?
And it actually got posted on the CFL Twitter account.
Great. Well, the players in the CFL are great. They're easy to deal with. They're very fan-friendly, and Chad Owens of the Argos, you don't like the Argos, right?
No.
No, nobody does. Chad Owens is one of the really good guys in the league, and I'm not surprised he did that.
You know what? How does it feel, like, hearing about the whole Belface situation? Like, do you think it was a good thing, or?
Yeah, the firing of Marcel Belfay as their offensive coordinator. Well, first on a personal level, you feel for him because he has a wife and kids, and and now they've got to kind of pick up and move and go somewhere. There's always that side of it that we don't talk a lot about in sport, but it's difficult for him and his family. But sports is that kind of a business where if you're not performing or the area you're in charge of isn't performing, they get rid of you. And so I felt badly for Marcel on a personal level, but from a football point of view, I think it was the right move, and it's time they went in a different direction with their offensive coordinator.
Who do you think will be the next?
That's a good question. I have an idea of some of the people I've talked to. One of them is Paul Lapalisse, the former coach of the Bombers. They've talked to Buck Pierce about it, who's on their staff right now. They've talked to Marcus Howell about it, who's on their staff right now. Who they're going to choose, I don't know. They don't let me in on that. But those are some of the candidates.
Out of those, who do you think would be the best?
Probably Paul Lapalisse. Probably Paul, but he wants to be a head coach, and there might be an opportunity in Saskatchewan. If he doesn't get the Saskatchewan job, I think there's a pretty good chance he'll be the Winnipeg offensive.
But I'm hearing Chris Jones is up for that job too, and he's the top candidate. To be a GM and coach, you get a lot more money.
Yeah, you do. That's the speculation. As you and I do this interview, there's lots of speculation about the Saskatchewan Roughriders offering Chris Jones, the head coach of the Eskimos, big money to come over to Saskatchewan and be the general manager and coach. We'll see how that works out.
Yeah. For you, how do you, I know you have a play card, but do you forget players' names from other teams?
Well, sometimes. Nobody's perfect, Jordan, and there's 44 players that dress for each team in every game, and part of my game preparation is to memorize all the names and numbers, and I'm pretty good at it, I have to tell you, after all these years. The good thing about the CFL is there's only 9 teams. And so there's not a lot of different teams that you have to learn the names and numbers of. And you also get to recognize the players just by the way they run, the size of them, the way they move. You sometimes don't even have to see the number to know what the player is. I could always tell it was Milt Stegall because he's got kind of a hitch in the way he runs. Every now and then I have to consult my depth chart, as I call it, to see who's got the ball. But I know most of the numbers and the players when they're involved.
And Stegall, another way you could tell him, he always ran his own routes.
Well, now wait a minute. Now, when you say ran his own routes, that means he's kind of not following the game plan.
Making, when the QB moves, he would get open.
Yes. No. Well, he and Kahari Jones in particular had a great rapport. And they kind of knew where each was going to be, and they made real magic together, those two.
Yeah. How does it feel when the Bombers lose and you get people call in, people that always nag on them?
Well, there's been a lot of that in the last 4 years because they haven't won a lot of games in the last 4 years. How do I feel? We're there on the radio to let them express their feelings. And the one thing I like about the football fans around here is they're very passionate and they care deeply about the team. And so after games, and particularly after losses, we just let them go and kind of vent their frustrations. And it's perfectly understandable that they're upset. As long as they don't go too far, we let them sort of pour it all out.
Have people gone too far?
Yes. We have a 10-second delay on our broadcast, and if they go too far, we cut them off before the actual audio goes on the air. So that way we make sure there's no really bad stuff that goes out on the airwaves.
So I heard a rumor that Dieter Brock could throw 100 yards.
Yes, he could.
Is that true?
He could throw the ball 70 yards from his knee. He'd be down on one knee, and he could throw it 70 yards. Believe it or not, he could throw it 100 yards, yep.
You think that he worked out, or is that just his arm?
No, he worked out. Dieter Brock was the quarterback of the Bombers in the 70s and 80s. He was extremely strong. He worked out very hard. A lot of that was natural strength, and he had a tremendous arm, the best arm of any quarterback the Bombers have had that I've seen.
comparing the old stadium to the new one, which stadium is better to broadcast in?
Well, I like the new one a lot. It's it's interesting. Everybody who comes to Winnipeg and sees our stadium for the first time just raves about it. And we had that all during Grey Cup week. People who'd never been to Winnipeg saw Investors Group Field, said, wow, you guys have the best stadium in the CFL. And I've said that many times. Our stadium is the best. There's no question. I liked the old stadium too, Winnipeg Stadium. But this is a good one. And they've got those canopies now at Investors Group Field. And they bring the sound down from up top, so it gets really noisy in there, and there's great atmosphere.
I love it.
Yeah, I do too. It's great. Yeah.
The old stadium never got that. Like it did when Flaggerville in 2011, but the stadium gets loud almost every game.
Yes, it does. Yeah, and I really enjoy working in it.
Like, how did Matt Nichols do this year in your eyes?
Well, he did okay. When the Bombers lost Drew Willie to injury, they needed a quarterback with some experience, and Matt came in and did a nice job. He's a free agent now in the off season, and whether or not he'll be back, I don't know. But and he's really a good guy too. The players enjoyed having him there, and he had a lot of leadership that he showed. So we'll see where he winds up, but he did a nice job for them.
I think he'll be back, but I don't know who.
What are you, his agent, Jordan?
I think he'll be back, but I don't know what role.
Yeah.
But I'm predicting backup based on, because Willie most likely will come back stronger.
Yes, Drew Willie will be back, and he'll be stronger than ever. And there is a good chance Matt Nichols will be signed and be the backup to Drew Willie.
And Andrew Harris. Is he?
He's a free agent.
Coming.
Played for the BC Lions the last few years. He's a Winnipeg native, and the Bombers are going to pursue him, whether or not there'll be other teams after him though too. Be great to get him back here though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
But who else is after him?
Well, I think there's 2 or 3 other teams at least that will pursue Andrew Harris. He's a very gifted running back, and he's a Canadian on top of that, and those players are always enormously valuable. Yeah.
Rare.
Yeah. So let's see. Maybe the Bombers will get him. Wouldn't that be exciting?
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah.
Messam would be exciting too. I always wanted Messam.
Messam's a little older. See, Andrew's 28, Messam's 31, and when running backs get into their 30s, you've got to be careful.
But he's like almost like Rick House, but
he's
stronger.
Bigger than Rick House.
Rick House.
He's a terrific back, no doubt about it. Yeah.
Rick House could carry people on his back for yards and yards.
Yeah, Rick House is in the Bomber Hall of Fame. He was an outstanding player back in the days when they won championships all the time.
You know what, Bob? I have nothing else.
All right. That's okay.
I'll ask a few questions to the audience.
I run out of questions too, Jordan, when I'm doing interviews.
Somebody start.
I have a question.
Okay.
I'm wondering, Bob, about your career and thinking about Jordan wanting to be a sports journalist. Are there any piece of advice that you could give to him that are looking, or people that are looking to be you one day?
Yeah, well, I would say be determined. Don't give up. Get your foot in the door. I tell young people who want to get into radio all the time, and you might have to start out sweeping the floors in a station. That's just a term. But as long as you get started, then you're on your way. So yeah, I mean, follow your dreams. If that's what you want. I wanted to be a radio. All I wanted to do when I left university was read a few sportscasts. And I got very lucky to be hired by CJOB and a chance to do play-by-play, which there's 9 people in our country who do play-by-play of professional football. And I'm one of them. So I'm very, very lucky. And I just pursued it and got it. So follow your dreams, Jordan.
I'm probably one of the best ones.
Well, that's
You knew I had to throw that one.
I know you did. That's for others to determine. But
Thank you.
okay, Jordan. Nice seeing you again.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Good luck.